are robbed through injury. 44 wins, $277,000 in prize money. It could have been a lot more, Grant.
Oh yeah, should have been up amongst the top of all dogs in Australia in prize money. If he hadn't hurt himself, he hurt himself, and unfortunately was off the scene for month after month. And every time I tried to put him back in and get him going again, he broke down on me again. And then in the end, I ended up I got onto some horse injection and injected his wrist with it, and ended up coming good and didn't have any problems with it after that. So it was great. Probably the greatest thrill, and as far as I was concerned, and something that will never ever happen. I can't ever see it happening again. It's history as far as I'm concerned, is running first, second and third in the Melbourne Cup. To do that is just it's just, I remember distinctly during the race, I saw Canton Bale come out in the lead, and then I knew the race was virtually over. So then I took my eyes completely off him, and I was watching the second and third dogs, and they were having a bit of a tussle. And then when they turned for home, Devon Road got away, and I could see something was running third, and it wasn't my dog. So then I stopped watching Devon Road and Canton Bar, and I was watching Flying Law, and Flying Law sort of came along the rail and got up to run third. And when they went over the line, I put my arms in the air and I yelled out, he's run third. And I was sort of looking at the other dog. It was a bit stupid, I suppose, to people around me, but I was yelling and screaming like an idiot, which you can when you win a Melbourne Cup, because the Melbourne Cup is, as far as I'm concerned, it's the be-all and the end-all of all races, and just the biggest thrill. I've won every major race. I've won Golden Easter eggs and all the big races. But to me, the Melbourne Cup is every year. I just used to look forward to it. It was just, to me, the be-all and the end-all of your thrills in greyhound racing.
Well, you had a fair crack at it, and I'm going to read out your list while we've got this opportunity. Not only your three winners, which we've spoken about, but your runner-up was Swift Laser in '83, and Lansley Barlow was definitely unlucky in '97.
Wasn't he unlucky? Oh.
You finished third with Seren Bale in '98, and you had finalists Luke's Chariot '91, Nash and Maro '92, Moonabel Prince '95, Moonabel Town '97, Sheldon Bale and Bazooka Bale in '98, Hala Harley and Sue Ellen Bale in 2001, Ryder Bale in 2002. 15 finals. You've had a crack at the race plenty of times.
You've got to have a crack at the big ones. I just used to love the big races, and that's what you're in it for, and that's where you can get the cream, and it's good. Sometimes it's great winning a race around the country, but when you get in one of those races, as all the people that have been in them or had dogs in them or even won them, or that would know, it just stands apart. And every time when I see the replay of Go Wild Teddy, where the bloke runs down the straight and hugs his owner, and it's just, that's the feeling that you get from a Melbourne Cup. The bloke sprinted down there, and they were hugging each other and jumping in the air and yelling and screaming, and that's what it's about, you know. That's where you get up in the early mornings and do the hard yards to get. And when I see that Go Wild Teddy tape, that's what really reminds me of what the Melbourne Cup's all about.
They're setting the green light is on. Lure rolling for the Schweppes Melbourne Cup. Set to go. Racing the Cup, Unfaithful Hook a little bit slow to begin away, very fast, Flying Law out in the centre, going very fast as Canton Bale around the outside and going to the back straight now. Canton Bale found the lead, Canton Bale 4 lengths in front, Devon Road second, Faithful Hook the inside, wider out as Flying Law, then Edwards followed by Moonabel Tiger, then came Awesome Havoc, last one to win Miss Tantine. Canton Bale exploded, about 6 lengths out in front of Devon Road, Flying Law, then Faithful Hook into the straight though. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, a super spreader. Canton Bale wins the Cup by 4 lengths. Devon Road has run second, Flying Law has run third from Faithful Hook, and then Awesome Havoc followed further back by Edwards and Miss Tantine amongst the tail enders. Devon Road pulling up quickly over the line. I can't unveil the winner by Light of Fire from Jindara Bale, Paul Wheeler the owner, Graham Bate the trainer. Number 3, Devon Road has run second, trained by Graham Bate, and third, number 4, Flying Law, Graham Bate. It's a Graham Bate trifecta. A Graham Bate trifecta in the Melbourne Cup.
And we're talking about the history of the Melbourne Cup, and we've been able to catch up with former Sandown Greyhound Racing Club CEO Jeff Davies. Now Jeff, you've seen plenty of Melbourne Cups, you've been around for a long time. Probably fond memories of standing on a stand there on Melbourne Cup night with a lot of punters around.
Certainly really fond memories, and I guess that puts a different perspective on things, Neil, when you're cheering for your best result, I guess, rather than perhaps the best dog in the race. But yeah, very exciting times.
Your bookmaking days, any year in particular stick out for you?
Oh, most certainly. 1983, I think it was. Lady Lily. I think she got into a heat as a reserve, drew a wide box, and let's just say it was an extremely good start to the carnival. That was, in fact, it was a wonderful time. Of course, she went on to win the final in a great effort too. Drew wide again in the final, where she was suited and did a terrific job.
Now, you raced a few dogs, and one of them made the Melbourne Cup final, which I think everybody would like to have a greyhound at least make the final, Jeff. Mackay Victor?
Yeah, undoubtedly that's the case. I mean, 1968 I had my first greyhound, and I think your goals maybe a maiden at Warragul.
Yeah.
You don't really think about Melbourne Cups, but as you go through the years and you try and improve your stock and so on, and we finally got to a Melbourne Cup final. It was the rank outsider, box 4, and didn't really have much chance, but we were just absolutely thrilled to get there.
Well, of course, it was a famous year. It was the year of the vivacious Elkie summer.
Yes, I think I had a wonderful photo of John Stevens and I with Elkie. With
Elkie?
We were spoiling the photo, John and I, but yeah, she was a star attraction. But it was a terrific year, the Cup that year. I think Acclaimed Star might have beaten Big Pinch and the great South Australian dog, White Panther.
It was a brilliant field and a great race, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and,
so we didn't have any hope from the
blue.
blue.
The promotion was fantastic. And
it really was.
You had to carry that on when you came into the role as CEO. The promotion of the race is very important, wasn't it?
Oh, most certainly, yeah. And I guess we looked at we looked at the whole carnival as well, not just the race itself. I mean, the race is a great culmination, of course, and the pinnacle of the carnival. But I think we've just tried to fine tune a lot of the stuff that John had already put in place, and the Sapphire Crown going to the carnival. Sandown's always prided itself on the races that it's presented for bitches, of course, the laurels and so on. So I think that just added to it, and it's just a fantastic carnival and great to be part of it.
Now, you've seen plenty of Melbourne Cups. Your favourites? Does any really stick out in your mind?
Well, I guess it's terribly hard to go past Holy Blessed. I mean, just an out and out champion from from an ordinary box, and I think another thing that Mark Bell and all the boys, their celebrations after Go Wild Teddy. I mean, it's very important you're a good loser, Neil, but it's equally important to be a good winner too. And enjoy those things, because you don't know when they're going to happen again. And it was fantastic to see their sheer delight and their sheer joy. And I suppose in my time here, the win that really gave me a lot of pleasure was Bombastic Shiraz and the Cairns family, Darren and David and Kay. I mean, it was just fantastic, a real family effort, and they took on all the big kennels and cleaned up. It was just terrific, and boy did they love Bailey. I mean, I know we all love our dogs, but they just love Bailey to bits.
Still to this day, the greyhound is standing at stud at Bob Douglas's, and they take the greyhound back and forth for all stud duty. So it's amazing. He doesn't leave the premises.
Doesn't surprise me at all to hear that. No.
Terrific to talk to you, Jeffrey, and to relive what is a marvellous event, and one that's close to you and I know, is the Melbourne Cup. It's a special night. And,
it's the race, Neil. It's the race.
And we've seen plenty together, and hopefully we'll see plenty more.
I certainly hope so.
And on the history of the Melbourne Cup, we're talking about the 2000 winner, and that's Go Wild Teddy, and we're here at Webb Kennels in Austral, New South Wales, with Mark Bell, the owner trainer, and reliving the memories of what we know was a very exciting night for you, Mark, because I don't think anybody's excited has celebrated a cup like you, and all the connections and the people that were part of your team.
Yeah, exactly. What actually happened there, it was a hobby. I never really thought we'd ever get to that position.
Yep.
And even though we got to be favourite for the cup on the Thursday before he pulled a dew claw out at home, and we had the dew claw removed, and he was limping up to the day of the race, and just I really didn't think he could win the race, and it was just such an excitement. And with me two mates who were in the dog with me, Steve McMaster and Jay Razzo, we'd been together with all the bad dogs we'd had over the years, and finally we got one. His actual kennel name's Mocker, because we put the mock on that many, and we thought he'd be no good too. So for him to come good like that, it was just unbelievable.
He was in fantastic form. He'd won the Vic Peters. He'd come down and was sensational in the shootout. So he was in the form of his career, wasn't he?
He was in real good form, as I say. 2 days before the race, on the Thursday, pulled the dew claw.
Yeah.
I didn't really, brought him in, he was a dog that loved work, brought him inside, brought him out there to hydrobathing, because it was a couple of days before, on the Tuesday actually, before the Cup. And bang, dew claw off. Up to Ted Humphries, the vet, get it off, and he's limping. Wednesday night, we were staying at Seymour, and here's the dog limping, so I'm going to probably have to scratch him.
Yeah.
So I never slept, and then next day he wasn't limping, and we saw, oh, well, we'll go, we'll see what happens.
Wonderful memories. He was an extremely fast dog. He dropped a back muscle there in the end, and he's gone to stud, and he's been pretty successful at stud too.
He's going well. He's running 5th at the moment, probably be 4th next week. Hasn't thrown a champion as yet, but we've served over 400 bitches, and he'll be running 4th next week in Australia. So
yeah, he looks well and in his 7th year, and pretty sprightly around the prop.
Real sprightly dog, and what made him such a special dog, he hated to lose. He was just a real hard chaser. Even when he got beat, he was still off the bunny and chasing.
And of course, to breed him too, Mark's always something special about that, isn't it?
It was, yeah. To have him there as a pup, him and his brother. Well, his brother won the Derby. They were special litter, and yeah, and well, he'll be here forever, no matter what happens.
No doubt. Thanks for joining us and talking about the mighty Go Wild Teddy, winner of the 2000 Melbourne Cup.
Thanks.
Lure rolling for the Cup. They're boxed and ready to go. Racing Go Wild Teddy began okay, away fast there, Mystical Gem. Go Wild Teddy's going to go to the front on the turn out of the straight, and the favourite takes the lead. Go Wild Teddy in front, Classic Capri second, Days Meadow near the tail. Going down the back end, the leader here was the favourite, Go Wild Teddy, 3 clear. Classic Capri followed by Dutchy's Angel third, 3 or 4 to Kill the Bandit, followed by Days Meadow. Mystical Gem well back with Trousers, and Big Smig, the leader, was Go Wild Teddy turning for home, having a crack at a Classic Capri, but it's Go Wild Teddy in front. Go Wild Teddy wins the Cup by a length and a half, Classic Capri, and Dutchy's Angel third. A gap on the race, Mystical Gem, Killed a Bandit, followed by Trousers, Days Mentor, and Big Smig amongst the tail enders. It's the favourites Cup, Go Wild Teddy.
And on the history of the Melbourne Cup, I've got Sandown director Peter Rao with me. Peter, you've seen a few Melbourne Cups. Any stick in your mind as great memories for you?
There has been a couple, Neil. I go back to 2000, Go Wild Teddy. The place was set alight by the owner when he's just galloped up the track and celebrating.
Pretty exciting, wasn't it?
That encapsulates the whole atmosphere of the whole Melbourne Cup. It was very exciting. Something that we probably all aspire to. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, my other favourite, Bombastic Shiraz, magnificent greyhound, just epitomises hard chases.
Yeah, terrific.
And what a fantastic win. Fantastic.
Good on you, Pete. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Neil.
And on the history of the Melbourne Cup, we're talking with Judy Haley, the part owner and trainer and breeder of Classic Capri 2001. Judy, obviously a very memorable night, but she actually was her second Melbourne Cup because as a very young greyhound she was in the Cup beforehand, which is something only Cheltenham Lass had done before, away back in the middle 60s. So she was always shown that she was going to be an exceptional greyhound right from the very start, Judy?
Yes, I can remember. Well, not actually right from the very start, you know, a few trials breaking in, things like that, and then all of a sudden, I suppose, as they say, the penny dropped.
Yep.
And we thought, oh, we might have a good one here, you know.
Now, she didn't draw well, box 5. After the box draw, you must have thought, gee, you know, it was a fantastic field. Sue Ellen Barlin, Carlisle Jack and No Intent, some of the great sprinters of the time. It was a magnificent cup final. Box 5, 25 to 1, so probably nobody around much thought she could win the cup except you home here.
Well, yeah, as you say, it was a really good field, and we thought box 5, well, she hasn't always been served well with the boxes, and Glenn and I thought, well, it's a great honour to be in the race, especially in a field like that, so we thought, well, we'll give it a best shot, and yeah.
Now, you told me that on the day she was very excitable and she knew she was going to the races, but on that day she was unusually very quiet.
Very quiet. In fact, we were driving over to the door. We got her out of the kennel to go, and she just walked out calm, cool and collected, and we sort of thought, and Glenn always handled her because she was a bit of a handful for me, and she always performed well for him. We're walking out and we're thinking, gee, she's very quiet. We made the comment and we put her in the back of the car, and all we did all the way over was keep looking back at her thinking, she's very quiet, why is she so quiet?
Yeah.
And of course we get to the track, and usually with any dog you get to the track, they stand up, oh, we're here, you know. And no, she laid down. Glenn got her out, did the normal, empty, walk, you know, walking empty, and very quiet, and she usually got a little bit hyped in the kennel and things like that, but yeah, we were a little bit stunned, and we were sort of thinking, well, what's wrong here? But anyhow, she was calm, cool and collected, and it was good.
Well, it couldn't have gone better to plan. She flew the boxes, holds the race record, 29.65, and was never, ever in danger of defeat. So how did you feel when she's sailing down the back and quite obviously going to win the Cup, but at that stage there wasn't going to be anything emerge from the pack you know, to run her down. How did you feel probably at that part of the race?
Oh, that's a hard one to explain. I've never had that feeling before. I can remember I was standing up in the grandstand, and I had a few friends, and believe it or not, I cannot remember who I was with, but I don't normally get too excited, but I got very excited that night, and when she was down the back I just kept looking back to see who's coming out of the pack, and I thought, oh, she's got, I just keep going, you know, and I'm screaming and yelling. Of course everybody thought I was crazy, but yeah, oh look, it's just a feeling you can't explain. Unless it happens to you, you just can't explain it. It's really great.
By second place, and just a few minutes time, we'll know the winner. One of our placements here tonight will want to night.
Classic Capri 5, Hutcho Vintage. Taylor Harley, no intent. Carlisle Jack, Suellenbauer, green light on, Valley in motion. Set for the Melbourne Cup. They're ready. Racing in the Cup, Taylor Harley began well, going out very fast. Classic Capri driving through near the insiders. Killed Bandit out of the straight. Classic Capri had the lead. Going to the back straight, about 3 lengths clear over Killed Bandit. Carlisle Jack the third, followed by No Intent on the inside, followed then by Hutcho Vintage, Silver Soul. Well back Sue Ellenbauer and Taylor Hardy coming up the back, and Classic Capri well clear in the Cup. 5 lengths Killed Bandit, followed by Carlisle Jack and No Intent. Into the home straight though. Classic Capri well clear. Classic Capri wins the Melbourne Cup, about 4 lengths second. Killed Bandit third is tight. Hutcho Vintage, Carlisle Jack, Silver Soul, followed by No Intent, and they were followed near the tail by Taylor Hardy and Sue Ellenbauer. A brilliant win to Classic Capri. Classic Capri has won the Melbourne Cup at 25.90 and 5.40 on Super Tab in a time of 29.65. 5 yellow, Classic Capri is the winner.
Wonderful jubilation, of course, after the actual victory, and you know, I no doubt a wonderful time after too for a week or so.
Oh, it is, it is. I can remember Maureen Stevens-Corte. She used to always catch her if she was at the track.
Yep.
And Maureen was crying and kissing and cuddling her, and we were all, it was just one fantastic moment. Glenn was over the moon, you know. Yeah.
Exactly. And she had a wonderful career. She was one of our great race sprinters of her period, and she raced with some marvellous greyhounds. Brett Lee, she bumped into him a few times.
Yes.
And at another time, she may have won even some more feature races.
Yeah, well, she chased Brett Lee home in the Adelaide Cup, and that was it took a lot out of her, that run. It was a very hot day. And Horsham Cup, I think it was Brett Lee she chased home there too. She also ran second I think she ran second to him and then come out the following year and won it.
And of course you've had the pleasure of racing her pups since she retired from racing.
Yeah, she had 10 token princes at her first mating, and a second mating she had 15 to Jack Jr. And they were about 17 months old at this moment,
Yeah.
and going along really nice.
That's good.
Yes,
So
yeah.
she might throw another little classic Capri.
Oh, it'd be nice.
Be
It would be
terrific.
nice, yeah.
Judy, thanks for joining us and reliving a terrific time with your Greyhound Classic Capri.
Thank you.
We're at the Bullen East property of one of the veteran trainers in Victoria, and certainly in Australia. Len Poor joins us to talk about the winner of the 2002 Melbourne Cup Excitability. Len, now you've trained for a while, probably over 50 years, closer to 60 maybe, Len.
No, not quite. Nearly.
Nelly. Very exciting time, the 2002 Melbourne Cup. He was drawn to win, wasn't he, Len?
He drew, and he'd like to get out of a box, and when you draw a red box in the final, it's a big start.
Yeah, it certainly is. He a very quick dog, and as you say, not a lot of age on him when he won the cup.
No,
he
no.
was inexperienced.
Yeah, he did had only about 12, 15 starts.
Yeah.
Because I always started around the bush first, and he come in for the ledger at Warrigal, and then passed through it.
Confident on the night of the race?
Oh, felt, yeah, easy, but you can never get overconfident big races. You've got to be a bit of luck with you.
Then you've had some very good dogs over the years going way back, and we talked about Raja Flash and Open Country and Greyhound you're racing at the moment, Sensational Lee. But,
Go Diesel.
Go Diesel, terrific dog.
I always had a couple.
I always had a couple that could go a bit. Do you rate, mainly because of the importance of the races, that Excitability one is probably your best dog?
Well, he could be around the best. I think the Raja Flash was on the par, but he had 60 starts. I think he's only out in place 7 times.
Mm.
But,
he was a lucky dog, Excitability.
He was a lucky dog with a lucky owner. It makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference. And you're still enjoying training, Len?
Oh, yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah. I suppose, I think you said to me once, well, what else would I do if I wasn't training?
That's right.
And it's beautiful country up here. You moved out here to Gippsland.
Real good setup here. And we only have half a dozen race dogs now, and it's a challenge to keep good dogs going.
Now, did you celebrate much on the night of the winning the cup?
Oh, I had a driver to drive me home.
That's the main thing. So you had a great night.
Yeah, we had a real good night with that.
Terrific, Len. Thanks for joining us.
That's all right, thank you.
Here they are, taking $200,000 in stake money. The winner, of course, taking home $140,000. When you consider one of these greyhounds has won 100 races on the start in the
Let's stand by for a start on the Sweps Melbourne Cup. Ready. Racing, Excitability on the inside began fast. It's a great charge for the early lead, Mint Mojo. And Cape Reality, a great turn of speed into the first turn. Excitability, the rails is going to hold them out, joined by Mint Mojo. 2 lengths away, then came November Fury, followed by Cape Reality. A length or so, then El Grande getting through on the inside, followed by Lindale View, Waterview Star. And right about at the tail, off the back, it's Excitability leading. Mint Mojo pulling out November Fury and El Grande. Excitability! And it's the Gippsland Guru, ready for, wins it from El Grande, flying at the end, followed by Mint Mojo, November Fury, then Lindale Bloom, followed further back by Waterview Star, right about and Cape Reality.
How's that feel? Yeah, great. Don't get that every day, do you? There it is.
For the presentation, it's my pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Sandown Greyhound Racing Club.
Sit down the camera, made me a bite.
Joining us from the Gold Guide and the Greyhound form is Peter Pearson. Peter, you've seen numerous Melbourne Cups. What are your personal memories of the Melbourne Cup as a race?
Neil, going back to the 60s, and I was pretty young in those days, like yourself, and one that sticks in my mind is a wonderful Sandown Park bitch called Cheltenham Lass. Back in 1966, I think in 1965 she was runner-up, She won it and she deserved to win the next year. And in between those two runs was 2 placings, 2 runners up in the Australian Cup. So while we talk about the contemporary greyhounds of today, we can't forget the champ, and she was a champ, the champions of yesteryear.
Now, Peter, what about your favourite Melbourne Cup winners? Is there any particular, year that brings back memories to you each time you think about the Melbourne Cup?
Oh yeah, I think that if you go back, I mentioned Cheltenham last, and I think 6 or 7 years later on there, probably Gold Grotto, who I call the daddy of them all here at Sandown Park.
Yeah.
I think he won 21 races here at Sandown Park, just an absolute Sandown Park freak.
Yep.
Trained by Ed Tucker. And there's a little bit of trivia attached to it because of the fact that prior to his Melbourne Cup win, he'd won from every box at Sandown Park bar the red. And he didn't have a very, very good strike rate with the red alley, and he didn't draw it too many times. But on this particular occasion, he drew the red box in that Melbourne Cup and promptly got the money, and he deserved his win. He's a favourite of mine. Yeah, he's a favourite of mine too, Peter. And am I right in saying that regardless of where he was coming to the first turn, he'd almost be in front when they come out of it? Oh, he was just a very, very intelligent chaser, and we've seen dogs of the modern era, like Rapid Journey's a greyhound who could handle himself in a field like that. But I've mentioned Cheltenham Lass, I've mentioned Gold Grotto, and possibly from the old days, Acclaimed Star, Billy Fletcher's black and white sprinter who won here. I happened to be in Perth a couple of months earlier and watched him win the National Sprint Championship at Cannington on the grass, and then he brought him to Sandown Park, and he was a very, very good chaser. And a fantastic year with the glamour of Elkie Summer on the dais. Well, you probably were looking at Elkie, and I was too busy running backwards and forwards to the betting ring. Now, Peter, what about of really sort of recent times, in say the last 10 years or so? Any greyhound that really stood out to you? Well, we mentioned Gold Grotto because of him being such an intelligent animal in a field. I reckon Bombastic Shiraz falls into that category because of the fact that he's a dog that could miss the start and knew where he was at the first corner. Very, very powerful finisher. And apart from his well-deserved win in the Melbourne Cup, that was in 2003, he won the Victorian Greyhound of the Year, and then I think he became the second Australian Greyhound of the Year. So you and I have both got fond memories of the Australian Greyhound of the Year because we both fought very, very hard to get it recognised. I think Bombastic Shiraz probably over the last 10 years would be a favourite, and I couldn't leave out Classic Capri because of the fact that she ran second in a Melbourne Cup, and then for a bitch to come out and do similar to what Cheltenham Lass did, she'd also fall into that category. You know, bitches that weren't over raced, kept purely for the big races, and she deserved her win. Yeah, Bombastic Shiraz, Pete, I mean, you wanted to be on him down the back, didn't you? You were at peace with yourself if you'd backed him because he was just going to win, wasn't he? He was too, but and also the fact that he was a Sandown Park dog, loved this track, and I got a bigger kick out of him because of the fact I mentioned to Darren Cairns about 3 or 4 months beforehand. I said, you want to keep this bloke in Cottonwool because of the fact that he is a Sandown Park specialist and he's likely to pick up a big race later on in the year, and which he did. So you get a buzz out of that. Yeah, for sure. Pete, thanks for joining us. Neil, a pleasure. The 2003 Melbourne Cup was won by Bombastic Shiraz in fine style indeed, and joining us is Darren Cairns, the trainer of the mighty Bombastic Shiraz. Darren, well, he was flying at the time. He probably couldn't have been in better form. No, he was going tremendous at the time, and yeah, it just culminated off of just a brilliant year for him. It was a great year. He put the writing on the wall. I think he won the Bill Collins, and then you put him in the shootout. He had to do plenty of work to win the shootout, but into the heats of the Melbourne Cup and then to the final. How did you feel when he drew box one? Yeah, we gave him an enormous chance in the race, and probably the red just puts a bit more pressure on you then because he really got his chance to win the race, and you know, we were just thrilled when he came up with the red. He didn't actually really utilise the box to its full degree, I suppose. But he was able to get himself into a position where he could win the race by you know, from the red probably. Yeah, he probably he wasn't a great box dog, but he had good pace when he hit the ground, and one Spring Secret sort of cut across him early,
he basically followed it through, which probably helped him out, and then a couple sort of got out, and he got underneath them, and once he was out chasing, he's a very hard dog to beat.
You must have been at peace with yourself when he got into a real winning position, coming off the sort of into the home turn, coming off the back. He looked the winner there, didn't he?
Yeah, once he sort of got out to second and he went around Spring Secret, yeah, he was never going to get beaten then.
Dead on the cup, ready. Racing, Bombastic Shiraz on the inside began okay. Bounty Lass out in a hurry. So is Cool to Sandy. Wider out of Spirit of Will on the dash around the first turn. And railing right up on the inside of Spring Secret now. And Spring Secret from New South has gone to the front. 2 or 3 lengths clear. Smack well up around the outside. Getting up in the rails, Bombastic Shiraz. They were followed then by Cool to Sandy. Spirit of Will. Further back, Bounty Lass come to chase Petite Bedeau. Bombastic Shiraz exploded around the outside and hit the lead in the cup now. Bombastic Shiraz race clear. 2 lengths Bounty Glass, third is Spring Secret, followed by Come to Chase, a gap then to Smack Well Up. They were followed by Petite Bedeau and Cool Sandy amongst the tail enders. It's the Favourites Cup, Bombastic Shiraz.
It was a roller coaster ride, an amazing year. Of course, he went on and won the Top Gun as well. Do you pinch yourself and wonder how it all happened?
Yeah, it's something every day you remember it, and especially the Melbourne Cup. I mean, that was his #1 race, and yeah, it's something that you never forget.
He was a pin-up dog, and of course the family, tremendous family involvement with your mum and dad, and your grandmother involved as well. That aspect of it was fantastic, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it just shows you how much of a family sport it is, and everyone got a huge thrill out of it, and the dog just did everything you could ask him. You couldn't wish for any better.
Of course, he went to stud and is doing very, very well, and as we thought he would. His first lot of pups are starting to race probably, so future looks good for him.
Yeah, the reports coming back are tremendous. There's some Don McMillan's got a terrific litter up in Sydney, and he rates them as good as any he's ever had. We've got a couple ourselves, and the reports are just coming back are just tremendous.
I think you might ever find another Bombastic Shiraz.
Well, you're always looking for one, but they're very hard to come up with a dog of his ability. I mean, I don't think I'll get another one, but you can keep on trying.
Terrific, Darren. Thanks for joining us and talking about your Melbourne Cup winner and a super dog he was in Bombastic Shiraz, the winner in 2003.
Thanks very much, Neil.
And on the history of the Melbourne Cup, it's a great pleasure of ours to catch up with Loretta Dawson. Now, Loretta, of course, used to be Loretta Harrison, of course, before marrying Jeffrey, and Greyhound racing, Loretta, you must reflect back on many, many years of Henry's involvement, and way back then?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, long time. Used to go Tuesday afternoons with Dad,
To Sandown Park,
yes.
on the old track?
Yes, I did, yeah. I'd wag school, and I'd tell Mum there was something wrong, and then I'd go with Dad.
So you had a great love of greyhound racing stretches right back then, and of course the formation of Sandown Park as we know it today, and through the 50s, and to see it develop into what it became in the 80s must give you a great deal of pleasure.
It does, yes, and especially the stand with his name up there.
Yes, well of course it'll be there forever, and now Loretta, I know you're involved in the preparations of the Melbourne Cup, and in particular the ball has become a famous greyhound function, as it is today, the different themes, and tell us about the formation of the balls. They used to be, at the Southern Cross?
Yes, originally, and then when the stand was built in '86, we transferred it all to there, and then we have a different theme every year, and we've had some wonderful ones. I think the best was the Phantom of the Opera. That was the best, I think, yeah.
So you had a committee and decided to make the ball a very, very big and gala occasion to celebrate the Cup?
Yes, that was the big thing for the year, yeah.
And it does signify the Cup too, and gives it more prestige, doesn't it, the ball?
I think so, yeah.
So you must be really happy the way the ball's developed, as you say, the themes and the great nights that people have enjoyed.
Yes, and 50 years, it's a long time, isn't it?
It's amazing, and you've seen all those Melbourne Cups. Do you remember any in particular, any runners or?
Well, I remember, I was just talking about it before, I remember one in particular in 1977, which was Milepost.
Milepost.
Because Dad had a dog in it called Mandaquita.
Yes.
And Jeff said to me about a week before the race, he said, if Mandaquita wins the Cup, you get a black, fully stranded black diamond mink coat. And I said, wow, that's fantastic. And of course, coming round the turn, Antiquita's there, but came second, and my coat went.
Went down the
went down
the tubes with the mighty little milepost, who was just too good. But
that's right.
It was still a thrill, I suppose, to have a place getter.
It was, yes, it was.
You've had a few tries, I suppose. With Henry and of course with Jeff to try and win that elusive cup.
Never got there. No,
there's still a few more chances, isn't there?
Oh, I hope so. I really would have liked to get a dog that would win for Dad, you know, before he goes. That he's won the Melbourne Cup. He's only come second, and it'd be nice if he could, you know.
It'd be fantastic. And yes, Loretta, I suppose it does hold fantastic memories, and to see the club develop the cup into what it is today, from probably humble beginnings in the 50s, it is a sensational achievement for the club, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's wonderful.
Loretta, it's been wonderful to catch up with you too and relive all those memories of Melbourne Cups, and we would think plenty more to come for you.
Well, we hope so. Yeah, thank you.
And on the history of the Melbourne Cup, we're talking about the 2004 winner, Hallucinate. And with us is trainer Darren McDonald. Darren, I know how excited you were on the night of the ball when Hallucinate came up with box number 1. You must have thought, well, this is my chance to win a Melbourne Cup.
Well, history will show that Red Box has got a very good record in that race and most of the Group 1 races, so I was pretty excited about it.
He had a tremendous year. He was always going well right throughout the year, and I know it was a race that you desperately wanted to win.
Yeah, well, as long as I've been a dog trainer, it's probably the race that has appealed more than any other races, and luckily I've had a chance to win a few of them, and to win that was very special.
It was a special win, and probably at the first turn there was going to be no doubt that he was going to go and win it. How did you feel when he was sailing in front down the back?
Well, it's a good feeling to see him in front, but they're never across the line till they hit the line. So, you know, he did a good job to push through the first corner. There was about 4 or 5 in line, and there wasn't, from behind the boxes, there wasn't a lot of room, and he just seemed to push through. He wanted to be there, and he made the race his own there.
You're in good time and good enough time to win any Melbourne Cup. You know, as it turns out, you know, it was a great run.
Yeah, he's a very good dog from a very good litter, and as I said, the red box makes a big difference in a final, so we're very happy to draw it.
Green light on for the Melbourne Cup. They're ready. And racing Hallucinate began fast on the inside away quickly. CJ's Vixen. Whiskey Assassin's going to be last early. 4 or 5 lengths down early. Flex Manila down on the first turn, and Whiskey Assassin in trouble. Going to the back straight and Hallucinate the leader. A length and a half to Born Yesterday, followed by CJ's Vixen. Then Hotline Hero, 5 or 6 to Malfoy. Whiskey Assassin and Panicked off the back. Hallucinate the leader. A length and a half to Born Yesterday, closing. 5 lengths CJ's Vixen. Into the straight though. Hallucinate clear. It's Hallucinate for the Melbourne Cup. 2 lengths to Born Yesterday, and third is CJ's Vixen from Malfoy. Hotline Hero followed by Panic, Whiskey Assassin, and down and out shortly after the start. Flex Padilla has chased them in. Number 1, Hallucinate for Tony Lockett and Darren McDonald. Takes the Melbourne Cup in a time of 29.73. 1, 8, 2 and 3 are the numbers. 1, 8, 2 and 3.
Interesting sideline to the Melbourne Cup. Tony, his owner, decided in the week after the Cup to sell him. So from your point of view, it would have been disappointing to lose a greyhound of that calibre, but Tony had his reasons to sell him.
Yeah, well, it's a business for him and for me as well. So at the end of the day, if those harder decisions have to be made, well, that's part of the job, and we just move on and try and find another one. It was obviously disappointing, but it's just part of the job.
As luck would have it, you did find another one, and by way of Pure Octane, who came along pretty quickly and replaced him. But let's leave Brett Lee out of it. How did you rate Hallucinate with your top dogs?
Oh, well, you've got to rate him up there very highly. He won a Melbourne Cup and a maturity in the 1 year, and history says no other dog's ever done that. So you know, it takes a special dog to do them sort of things. So he's right up there. I don't really like rating dogs. Brett Lee's
on his own.
On his own, and you know, as long as I've been in dogs, I don't think I'll ever see another one like him. And you know, he was virgin on Freaky, I suppose. These other dogs are special dogs, but Brett Lee was just something that once a lifetime I was lucky enough to have one.
He's been a stud for a little while now, and his pups will probably we'll see during 2006. How do you think he'll rate as a stud dog? Do you think he's got the potential to make it?
Oh, I think without a doubt he's already proven at the moment. You know, I think he's been a stud 2.5 years now, full time, and his results show that he's up there with the group winners, equal to any of the dogs that have, some have been there 7 or 8 years, and I think he's second or third in the size list in Victoria, and he's just about first in New South Wales as we speak at the moment. So his efforts have been unbelievable in my opinion.
You've enjoyed the night. You've won one. Desire to win another Melbourne Cup?
Oh, well, I think you wouldn't be training dogs if you didn't have a desire to win and try and win another one. It's probably cheeky to think that you could win another one, but you know, we're there trying, and hopefully one day it might happen again.
Terrific, Darren. Thanks for joining us and talking about your Melbourne Cup winner, the 2004 winner, Hallucinate. On the history of the Melbourne Cup, we're talking with a gentleman that had a great deal to do with the race, and certainly a great deal to do with Sandown Park. Their long-serving chairman of 23 years, Henry Harrison, joins us. Fantastic to talk to you, Henry, in your 91st year. And it's great to be here to talk about Sandown's great race, the Melbourne Cup. And you'd have fond recollections of it. And tell me, the committee in those early years decided to make the Melbourne Cup its race, its flagship race?
Yes, they were the first to think, first of all, of giving a motor car as part of the first prize. They were the first to think of bringing a world star to Australia to present the Melbourne Cup for the first time. So they've always been at the forefront. When Sandown Park originally bought the area that they're currently racing on, they used to race in the centre of Sandown Park Racehorse racetrack. And they bought 20 acres on the opposite side of the station. Then I entered into a deal with the railways that they could use our car park at Sandown Park, providing that they built the station opposite the entrance gate to our racetrack, which they did.
Now, the club developed the Melbourne Cup as a race over the years, and as you say, how significant was it to come up with the idea of bringing out a Hollywood movie star?
Actually, the thought of spending that much money on a greyhound race didn't really have the approval of all in the greyhound world. But time has proved that it was a successful move.
Absolutely. Can you tell us how much it cost the club in that time?
Oh, Well, I know that Elkie Summers cost us 50,000.
A heck of a lot of money for that particular time, Henry.
It was a lot of money. We were just fortunate enough that Sandown Park was getting crowds of between 5,000 and 6,000.
Henry, you would have been now delighted to see what a significant race it is and how it has developed in this long period of time since your first association with the race in the middle 1950s, in 56, to what it is today. It's a fantastic race still today, isn't it?
It is. I think, without over-exaggerating, I honestly think that it has the most prestige of any other race in Australia. They come from all states to race the Melbourne Cup.
Now, Henry, have you got a particular favourite greyhound that's won a Melbourne Cup?
I've got a particular favourite that I owned, that I raced in the Melbourne Cup, Bandicoot.
But your favourite winner, Henry? I think you mentioned Rookie Rebel was one of your favourites.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He was a very good dog. He was Rookie Rebel.
And they said he used to race like he had a jockey on him, Henry. Is that right?
As a matter of fact, he used to go in and out. You'd think that he did have someone helping him.
Amazing.
Yeah, a bloke by the name of Stan Cleverly owned the best stables, Greyhound stables in Victoria.
Yep.
And he used to produce, he bred dogs. And he used to breed them specifically and train them for the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah. Well, that in itself says a lot about the race. Henry, you've seen the club develop and had a lot to do with the club developing from what it was to what it is today, and certainly the grandstand that's named in your honour. You must have a great deal of pleasure to see how Sandown Park has progressed as a greyhound club.
Well, it certainly has. I take a great deal of credit for its success in the very early days, because I became very friendly with the Premier, Henry Maltese, later to become Sir Henry, Arthur Ryder, later to become Sir Arthur Ryder, and John Dillon, later to become Sir John Dillon. And it's not many know this, but it's true that Sandown Park Greyhound Racing is responsible for liquor being sold at 10 o'clock at night instead of 6 o'clock at night. Because Sir Henry Maltese was at Sandown, and by invitation to do a presentation, he wanted a drink at about 8:30. We told him we'd shut down. He said, bloody ridiculous. And he turned to John Dillon, who was there, and said to John Dillon, fix that on Monday. And John Dillon prepared an Act of Parliament and put it through, and that's how
it was passed.
It's one thing he did.
Absolutely amazing. Henry, it's terrific to see you in good health in the latter part of your life, and now in your 90s.
It depends who you ask. If you ask me daughter, I think she'd have a different view.
It's terrific for you to join us and relive your past recollections on the history of the Melbourne Cup, and of course of a club that you're so very proud of in Sandown Park. Thank you very much.
Well, I think you would have to give a lot of credit to the continuation of the actual chairmanship after I gave up in 1987.
Correct. He's a good man too.
Well, he's been there ever since.
Absolutely. Thank you, Henry, for joining us. And on the history of the Melbourne Cup, we're talking with long-serving Sandown Greyhound Racing Club Chairman, Mr. Jeff Dawson, who's joined us just to remember a bit of history about the race. Jeffrey, you presided over a lot of Melbourne Cups since you took over in 1987, but of course you'd go back to way before we even raced here on this particular site.
Yes, I do, Neil. I can remember racing across the road at the old Sandown racecourse, and used to wag work and get it there of a Tuesday afternoon. It was great.
And of course the Melbourne Cup became such an important event, and the club has promoted it such. From the late 50s and right through the 60s you would have seen the Melbourne Cups and seen the race grow to what it is today.
Yeah, I think it's the pinnacle. I'm probably a bit selfish, but I do think it's the pinnacle, Neil.
The club's always tried to provide the best prize money and promote the race, done all sorts of things over the years, haven't they? So it's a real flagship event, isn't it?
Well, it is, Neil, because I've got a board of directors that just keep insisting that we be the leader in the field.
And let's hope the club will always be the leader with this terrific race. Now, you've seen a few. You had a couple of runners too. One that just got nutted. Was that your favourite?
Well, it's not the favourite for betting, Neil, but it was a great race. Milepost, I think, beat us, and we ran second, which is a great honour. And
we've been able to uncover footage from Channel 7 of that race, so it's going to be magnificent to see the 1977 Cup again. Amanda Coiter just getting nailed on the line. And you had to go for a few bob that night, Jeff?
Yes, I can tell you that we did back it early and we backed it late, and we just kept betting, and it was would have been a great result for us, Neil.
But of course, just to get a runner is always a great thrill into the race like the Melbourne Cup, and that's what people have strived to do in the sport, haven't they? Make sure they can try and make a Melbourne Cup.
Well, I believe that the owners and trainers do strive to get into the Melbourne Cup because, as I said before, I think it's the pinnacle race in Australia.
And you're looking forward to the 50th running of the race, the anniversary, the golden anniversary this year?
Oh yes, it'll be a great night. Watch the papers, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be a great night.
Thanks for talking to us about your memories of the Melbourne Cup, Jeff, and the mighty job that you've done over all those Melbourne Cups, and of course your time on the committee here at the club.
My pleasure, Neil, thank you very much.
Since 1956 and the new era of greyhound racing, the Sandown Club has been fortunate to gain the voluntary services of some of the sport's finest administrators. Sandown committees over the last 50 years have been served by men with a great passion for greyhound racing. All of them have raced numerous dogs, some champions, some not. A large number of committee men have been outstanding trainers who have won feature races all over Australia. Above all, they brought to the table a wealth of experience, business acumen, and an unquestioned love of Sandown Park. As directors, they served with a skill for the adventure in promotions and excelled in the area of hospitality, as at all times striving to make Sandown the best club it could be. The Sandown Club current standing and acknowledgement in the Australian greyhound industry is testimony to the past and present Sandown committees. Well, there you have it, the history of the Melbourne Cup. On behalf of Peter and myself, we would like to thank the many people who gave of their time to help us with this production. We would also acknowledge the club and the administration staff for its continued support and encouragement that allowed us to push forward and complete the project so it could be part of the Cup's 50th anniversary. For what it's worth, my favourite Cup winner was Highly Blessed, closely followed by Rustic Venture. We trust that all who view this documentary derive some pleasure from it and look forward to the next 50 years of what is a truly unique event.